Oh my goodness, or OMG. I am excited to share with you Lapsang Souchong tea because I do believe it is my favorite tea. I think it's one of these teas where you either love it or you hate it, and I love it. So here's the leaves, and you can see they're very dark because they're fully oxidized, and this is a black tea. And here are the wet leaves. You can see they're small and broken, and this is because the leaves themselves are not high quality, and that's why they smoke this tea to make it good. They take, I don't know why, but I always tend to like the lesser quality teas that are smoked and toasted to make them taste better. So this is the Gaiwan that I had to do for this tasting so I could make my tasting notes. But this is how I normally make it, a whole pot of it, because I can't drink enough of it. And when I make the whole pot, I will put it in my tea basket and just put it directly in here like that. I fill it up and with water and make it directly in this big pot because love, love, love. Gotta have a lot of this tea. So as I said, here's the color, and here's also the color. And let's go on over to my tasting notes. So I'm guilty. I call this Lapsang Souchong often, but I believe it's Lapsang Souchong. So don't quote me on it because I'm not a professional. I am a tea explorer that enjoys exploring tea. So this tea is also known as that, and you can see that's very similar to Souchong, or it's also known as smoked tea. This particular tea is from Tea Source, but I've actually had this from several different companies, and hearty and robust. Those are good words I didn't write down. I should write them down. But I've had it from several companies, and it always tastes very similar. There's today's tasting date. This tea is from the Wuhi Mountains of the Fujian province, and it's also known as the Bohi Hills or Mountains. I'll get to that more in a bit down in my notes. So as always, I like to try to map it and see where my teas come from, and this is the area. I found this map online, and this is not my map. So I gather things from my own personal notes, and these are my personal notes. So that's where the mountains are, and if you actually look online and Google about the mountains, you'll see tons of fabulous, beautiful photos. And this one came from Wikipedia, and it says the River of Nine Bends. So there's lots of beautiful river photos out there. It's, really beautiful area. This is a map that I've used on other tastings, and you can see the provinces in this brown one right here. Is the Fujian province. And so that is where in China the Wuhi Mountains are located. So processing. This tea is fully oxidized. That's why it's a blacker than black tea. From the website, It says, well, I'm not going to go over the website. You can read what the website says. You can pause this video. I don't want to make the video too long, but I'll go over the traditional method, which is withering over pine or cypress wood fires, pan-fried and rolled, then pressed into wooden barrels covered with cloth allowed to oxidize, fried again and rolled into tight strips, hung in baskets over smoking pine wood fires to dry. As I said, that from the website, that is how they do it from this particular tea merchant. Notes. OMG, this is my favorite tea. It's been for a few years now. And this is my favorite phrase that I coined. Never bitter, only better tea. It's definitely never, I do not like bitter tea. And you don't have to be careful about how long you steep this tea, because it only gets better the longer you steep it. Never bitter. Oh, pardon me. So this right here, I've still left steeping, and I am not afraid to let it steep. Green teas, oh goodness, I have to be very, very careful. Green teas, do not oversteep green teas. So I also learned that if you buy tea called Russian tea or caravan tea, they are blends that include Lapsang Souchong. So those are also very good teas. This is an image that when I was first learning about this tea, that I came across on a website about, I got a typo here that I'm going to fix. No, I guess it was correct. So, a website about the Boston Tea Party. So when I first drank this tea, I drank it from Oliver Pluff in South Carolina, and I still will order it off of Oliver Pluff. I like ordering it off of local American websites. And so this tea, Oliver Pluff focuses on colonial teas and also teas of the Boston Tea Party. So this is one of the teas that was at the Boston Tea Party. And this is an image of them processing it that I got off the same website about the Boston Tea Party. And I love how it shows them, with the fire next to it and getting the smell of the smoke in it. Winston Churchill proclaimed this as his favorite tea. Way to go. And from Wikipedia, here is some notes that I gathered. So this name refers to the larger, coarser leaves that are found lower on the branch. So these are not the best leaves on the tea plant. They are the lower ones. And so that is why this is a lesser quality tea, but it's still my favorite. Lapsang, see there I go. Lapsang Souchong is a bohea. So bohea is the pronunciation of the Minnan dialect of woohee. So bohea and woohee. So when you see the name bohea, it's tea that is in the Woohee Mountains. And a lot of the bohea tea is oolong tea. So you see there was bohea tea on the Boston Tea Party. So actually most of these are from this area. And a lot of the tea is oolong, but not this one. This was black. And there's a story from the Wikipedia. I'm not going to read it. You can pause this and read it. And Lapsang Souchong is the first black tea in history, even earlier than Keeman. Apparently, it was moved later to places like Keeman, India, and Ceylon. Souchong refers to the fourth and fifth leaves of the tea plant, further away from the more highly prized bud. You know, we usually get a bud and the first two leaves for your Pico or best tea. So this is definitely lower on the tea plant. They're coarser leaves and not very aromatic. So we make it aromatic by the processing. There is the color of the tea, brown, from that tea color spectrum I created. The aroma is earthy, in the earthy category, because it's smoky, and I love the sweet campfire smell. Oh my goodness. It warms this outdoor girl's heart. I love outdoors and I love campfires and I love this. I've drank this tea so much that it has its own distinct taste and scent. So I would almost describe it as itself. And I could just sit and sniff. The body is light, so even for a black tea, I don't think it has a whole lot of body. It's not the lowest category for body, but it is the second to the lowest. Astringency I have as bright. I don't have it as smooth. It's not a smooth tea, but it is very low astringency, and I do not like astringent tea. So but I do like bright tea, I find. Taste. Again, it's tastes like its own self, its own name, but it is smoky and campfire and apparently pine, because when it's processed, as we saw above, it is exposed to the smoke of pine. Here's a note. Although I greatly enjoy this tea without sugar, I drink it often without sugar. I try to be healthier by not drinking tea with sugar, but the flavor does change and gets even better with the raw sugar that I add. So I will drink it with sugar at times, just as when I am really wanting a treat. And this is a comfort tea for me. You know, we have comfort foods that we eat, like when we're sad or depressed or even stressed or just wanting to relax, that just trigger that comfort feeling. This is that comfort feeling for me. So it's a good alternative to eating foods that might not be healthy to me. I've gotten the finish as juicy and mouth-watering, and then it's also slightly lingering of the smoky as well, but mainly juicy and mouth-watering. The rating, I've got 5 hearts. I could give it more hearts if I had more hearts to give, but that's the top hearts. And I not only would keep it on hand, but I do keep it on hand. I mean, when I start to run out of this tea, it's time to order more tea. So here's a picture of the leaves and another picture. And I'm curious, do you like this tea? I find that people either really like it like me, or they don't like it at all and they turn up their noses. And I'm always like pausing, anxious to see how they're going to respond to it. So I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.